is starting right now.
Hey guys, just a second. I went to go log in on TikTok and I said I got a violation after I got off live. So it suspended it, so I'm waiting on the appeal. That's where we're at, so just give me a second. This is annoying. What's up, everyone? I guess we're just gonna hang out over on here for a minute. Looking. They suspended the live again. It's actually crazy. So we're just waiting. What did they suspend it for? Misinformation. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. They took it down last night after I got off live, so I didn't even know. I couldn't even appeal last night. So we're just waiting. Does Pop have a different picture? The picture's not great. It's a bunch of bologna. Yeah, so we're gonna see what is happening. Just give it a minute. So I can't go live to the fucking 12th. This app is such shit. I'll be honest with you. I'll be so real with you. I think Parker's over on the app, but honestly, if I had the kind of following he did, I would not be over there. So, How we get to the truth being looked at as misinformation? Wild world, isn't it? Wild world. And I'm waiting on I'm waiting on Pickles. Waiting on Pickles because Pickles is starting up an agency, so stuff like this I could have someone review. I could have a person review it. It might take us a minute, might take us some time, but agencies can send it over to people for them to review it. Not approved is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Fucking bullshit. I'm just gonna go live on this account. Fucking absolutely nuts. Not approved is fucking crazy. Fucking nutso behavior. I need this. Yeah, like... Suspension till the fucking 12th. 2 videos from yesterday on Patreon that won't play. Hold on. Oh. There we go. Oops. I didn't mean to list them as private. Well, that fucking sucks. I know I don't want to cut my hair. Hold on, I gotta message Jaden. That's actually crazy. It's crazy. Fuck. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of want to go to fucking YouTube permanently. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I kind of want to go to YouTube permanently. Like, who the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, forward to live. Vertical stream can't forward to live. What? I don't know what that means. If you guys want to hit that like button over on YouTube, would appreciate it. I mean, this is like the shit. Like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Like, I can't, like, I'm waiting on Pickles to get into an agency, or to start an agency, so that Pickles can help get my account fucking, like, I don't understand the logic of needing an agency to have someone review a fucking ban. Well, I don't know why everything is fucking AI. I couldn't fucking tell you. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking insane that every fucking time it just continues. They continue to go down. It's fucking nuts. It really is. It really is. That just like everything is fucking taken down. It went down. My line went down last night and got suspended after I got off live. Fucking annoying. Super annoying. YouTube is better. I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably just gonna fucking go to YouTube. I don't know why the fuck. To be honest, a lot of it, I don't even know the fuck I'm on TikTok anymore. Anyway. Since he's investigated every day for something, wouldn't this have already came out? You know, for the same reason it didn't come out with Diddy. But it was talked about with Diddy. People talked about it. Donald Trump was on Epstein's flight logs. You guys just sort of, you know. This thing already, fucking TikTok's already put me in a bad fucking mood. Already out the fucking gate. Out the gate. What will you say when you're wrong? You spelled "you're" wrong. But also, what will you say when Trump refuses to release the Epstein files? He already did redact it, and I think you have to ask why he redacted it. All right, if you're debate, go ahead and hop in the box. Would appreciate it. I think the most annoying thing about TikTok is like it comes down so often that it's like, why, like how are you supposed to stream? How are you supposed to continue to go live? There's like no diversity. And I just to point out, like, TikTok, and I've been saying this for a long time, is setting up live streams to literally be just people like, send coins, send coins, send coins, send it over, buy this, buy that. And it's just like, that's not conducive to a long-term strategy of where you just have people selling shit, because that's most of what TikTok lives are now. People selling shit or people begging for coins. Like, beg, come on, send it over. It's just like, fuck. You're going to end up with a really shit diversity in this. Like, really, really not good. Just going to be shit lives and streams. It's basically one fucking giant infomercial, and everybody else just gets fucking taken down. If you guys are over on YouTube Shorts, go ahead and hit that like button. I think this weekend I'm going to run YouTube Shorts only, the YouTube Shorts only live, and see what happens over there. Redacted is an understatement. That shit was blacked out like Deep Space. Yeah, it really was. It really, really was. We have the numbers to talk about for jobs in a second here. Just really fucking irritated. And Goose Frava. Immediately irritated out the fucking gate. It's fucking so fucking annoying. Well, I think this weekend, though, we're going to stream YouTube Shorts lives only because I'm trying to get it to go out over there so we can get some better viewership on that side. And then we'll see what happens. I got pissed off about the price of coffee. Crazy expensive. Coffee is crazy expensive right now. So there's that. Anyways, if you guys are debating, go ahead and hop on in the box. Would appreciate it. That would be cool. Folgers Colombian is $25.99 for 35 ounce. You know what's interesting? I think coffee was like $25 for K-Pods at Costco. Like I don't like use K-Pods like that anymore, but I used to. And I remember when they went up to $29 or something like that. Now they're at like 32 or something, or 30. It's expensive. It's really expensive. So it's 35. It went from 25 to $35, just like that. Pretty crazy. All right, if you guys are over on YouTube Shorts, you want to hit that like button, leave a comment, help get some people in here. But I think this weekend I'm going to stream on YouTube Shorts only. In the event that TikTok goes down. It's fucking annoying. How, like, I was supposed to have a subathon next week. Now that's not fucking possible because TikTok felt the need to give me with a fucking 7-day suspension on some shit I didn't even do. It's fucking crazy. Crazy. Caffeine pills since coffee prices are outrageous. Yeah, that's not bad. I usually like use Crystal Light packets in the morning, so we got Big Mac. Oh, jobs are down, by the way. Big Mac, what's up?
Hey, not much. How you doing this morning, man?
Doing all right, doing good. What's your take?
I mean, interesting events happening yesterday, obviously, and I mean over the last 10 years. Um, Wondering what your take on this all is, because obviously a lot of people are under the assumption, let's just say those words, TikTok friendly. You know, the list of Epstein doesn't matter. It matters who he worked for, if you know what I mean.
Matters who Epstein worked for?
Yeah, his employer who allowed Epstein to do that stuff, collect blackmail on politicians and elites around the world.
I don't really think that they had us. He was working for anyone. I think he was just
Really?
friends with a lot of in-groups, yeah.
I mean,
some weird conspiracy theory?
not necessarily conspiracy theory. Like, where Ghislaine Maxwell's dad is buried, right?
I honestly don't remember.
I mean, what is it? The Temple of Olives in Jerusalem? Was it Golda Meir during his burial? Or his, he said
Nailed
that
it,
we
Josh.
can't
Josh clocked
we
the shit
can't
out of that.
say what Robert Maxwell did for the state of Israel, but in essence, he was a triple agent for Great Britain, Israel, and the United States.
Okay, but I don't know what that has to do
Never
with
delved into
Epstein.
that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but I don't know what that has to do with Epstein.
You're not aware that Ghislaine Maxwell was just basically running the same blackmail scheme her father was doing, right? You know about Mordecai Vanunu, the Israeli scientist who whistleblew the Negev nuclear research facility.
Right, but what's the nexus? What's the nexus to Epstein?
Epstein was an asset for Israel, as is Donald Trump.
Where's your evidence of that? It did turn anti-Semitic
listening?
real quick. Yeah, I'm asking you. I asked you for the evidence.
I mean, there's quite a bit of evidence when you look at the Khashoggi yacht, which Maxwell had purchased before, and then when you look at Khashoggi's ties to Saudi Arabia and the Zionist entity, there's a lot more evidence if you go into detail. I mean, look at what I was just emphasizing.
Right, but someone
about
buying
Mordecai
a yacht,
Vanunu?
someone that's
Mordecai
involved.
Vanunu?
Hold on a second. Someone that's involved. I don't know why I keep just saying a name. That's not a nexus. Someone that's involved with super rich people is going to buy things from super rich people. That's just the way it's going to be. So
you don't think
but I'm asking you. It's not what I think. It's what I can prove. I'm asking you. What evidence do you have to this degree? Like, what evidence do you have connecting Epstein?
When Mordecai Vanunu whistleblew about the nuclear program to the news, next thing you knew, he was kidnapped and in a jail cell in Israel from Italy. So
that's not what I asked. I asked you what the nexus between Epstein and Israel is. And
that is the nexus, Robert.
That is not a nexus.
Whoa, buddy.
That is not a nexus. What this is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that's rooted in nothing more than things that happened and you trying to string them together in some bizarro corkscrew and.
That's okay. Let me ask you then. Theory. What's your understanding of Russiagate?
I'm asking you very clearly, what is the nexus? What connects Israel to Epstein?
Let's ask it in a different question, okay? Real
No,
quick, entertain this.
No, I don't think
Oh,
I
okay,
will.
okay. I mean,
I think
Russiagate was Israelgate, and you're
I
too
think
uneducated to know that.
I think I
Russiagate was
want. I know
Israelgate, and
now
you're
you're
too
trying
stupid.
to make it ad hominem because you can't answer my very simple question. It's clear to me
No,
you don't know what a
because you're
nexus
skirting
is.
away from the reality.
I'm asking you for the nexus between Epstein and Israel, and you have yet to give
I'll
me one.
answer that question. I'll answer it if you tell me what Michael Flynn
No, this is not
testified
going to
to
be
the FBI he
conditional,
lied about.
period. This is not going to be
Then the
conditional. No.
conversation's over because
Okay,
you
bye.
don't understand.
Bye.
Later,
You
faggot.
don't know what you're talking about. Of course he had to go with the slur, of course, because he didn't know. Look at you see how you ask them simple questions and they get inferior. They get real upset. They get real inferior. I just asked you to answer the question of the nexus. It feels very simple to do. It feels very simple to do, and you can't do it. Why? Because there is no nexus. Because it's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. And then he gets all irate and bombastic, like, "Oh yeah, you know what it." No, I made it very clear. I don't know. I don't know why people think that. Where it's like I've told you 15 times what I want, and then you just like, well, no. What about no? No. Wait, what the fuck do I have to answer your question? Autobody, what's up?
What's up, Tommy?
What's going on? What's your take here?
I think that what the guest was trying to do was to lay question to your thought process with like information. So, I mean, there's no proof to the Russia, just like there's none to the Epstein situation. Or I
No, there is
refer to him
proof
as
to
Jeffy.
there is proof to Russia. There's a lot of proof to Russia. There's an insane amount of proof, and there's an insane amount of things that I can give you, an insane amount of nexuses.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't the same things.
Okay, so let me ask you, why would somebody, not just Jeffy, but just anyone for that matter, have videotapes and like information, very damning information on somebody of power? Like, why would somebody do that?
Someone committing in major criminal offenses, you're gonna want as much dirt as you can on other people. I don't think that that's a
Okay.
shocking.
Right. So
Yeah.
so what better way to control policy and or politicians or a person of power than to have that kind of dirt? Like that's the worst kind of dirt. Could we agree?
Yeah, I'm aware, but to the degree that Epstein is involved with Israel or any other country for that matter, there's no evidence.
Well, how did he get all his money?
He got
Like
all of his money. So
yeah,
he
what do they
actually
say?
became
Follow the money.
friends. Who did he become friends with? He became a socialite throughout the 80s. There was someone he became friends with because he worked at a school, and then he went on to go, red flag, and then he went on to go work around someone that was famous and rich. And most of it was Trump, but Trump was involved back in the 80s. There's a bunch of other really rich people as well. And inevitably, he just
Yeah.
made connections.
So
He made a
I
lot of
mean,
connections.
yeah, I like his wife for one, correct? Would that be a connection?
His wife would be a connection, but I think he made the connection through other people in the 80s. So after he'd already
Yeah.
met quite a bit of people.
I'm not going to get into the details. I just am going to say this. I find it very suspect that a person that did not come from influential power and money became influential and had a lot of money and then did
Did he?
these things. Oh, yeah.
Did he? Didn't come from
Mhm.
money. There's a lot of people that didn't come from money that are awful, awful people.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like a known thing, Tommy,
About what?
about the heinous acts on tape. I mean, look at Diddy,
Well,
for
I haven't
example.
seen anything. I just want to point out that there's never been tapes released. I don't know that anybody's even acknowledged that tapes exist. Do they? Maybe. But yeah, somebody that's in that position is going to want to get dirt on people.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at the Diddy situation, that's to control like media, right? Media, um, actors, influential people in that segue, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's the same. It's the same thing.
Right,
And I
but
just
look at the emergence of evidence, right? In the Diddy trial versus this one's completely different.
I think that yes, because they were sanctioned parties where people had to like sign non-disclosure forms, and then like certain things happen. I think that when you look at Jeffy, I refer to him as that it was much more elaborate and controlled. And you have
Okay.
like
Well, I think the
princes.
fact remain here is, in this situation, regardless, is that Donald Trump is refusing to have those documents released for a reason, and what that reason is, I don't know.
So
No, we know.
where do you get the statement of refusing to have these documents released?
So he actually released them and redacted everything.
Right.
Everything.
And so why would where do you get the he told somebody not to?
What do you mean he told Pam Bondi to release them? She released them entirely redacted.
Right, but there was also
Every
documents
word
and tapes
redacted.
found in New York that were being hidden that they've since found and they're currently working on. Are you aware of that?
I'm just simply asking why Trump hasn't released them.
Well,
Because they have a
because
ton of evidence through the FBI. Just why have they not released them? Why have they not released the documents? Why have they not released the tapes?
I think that it has to do with investigations and evidence preservation. Like they
Investigation and
just
evidence preservation over who?
the people
There are
involved.
statute of limitations.
Okay. So, do you have knowledge that they're not actively working on cases?
Do I have knowledge that they're not actively working on cases? Then why wouldn't Trump have said that? Why wouldn't have said he said we can't release him because we're actively working on cases? He should have known that from the first time he ran and didn't release him, right?
Well, I think that's what Kash Patel has clearly stated already. That they're
Kash Patel
currently
has stated no. Where's Kash Patel stated that?
Yeah, he stated that they're working on the cases of the new information that's been found,
Where
and
did
that people need to have patience.
where did Kash Patel say that?
I believe he said that in one of his interviews. May have been with Brett Baer. I mean, he's done a lot of interviews. I apologize, I don't remember the exact one. But then we have
Yeah, I don't
this
think he
tape.
did.
Yeah, we also have the tape of Pam Bondi talking about the 11,000 hours of audio that she's currently working through as well. Did you see that?
But why are they releasing stuff completely redacted, dude?
Well, no, they released the stuff that had already been released.
No, they
through the
didn't
court.
release anything. They released what was over 100 pages. They gave it to mega influencers and they redacted everything. Not some of the stuff. Literally every single page was redacted in its
Yeah, we already
entirety.
had all that. Yeah, we
Why
already
would
had all
you
that.
do that? Why would you do that? Then go around and parade around like you release them, and then not just say we're actively working on court cases.
Um, well, I think that the fact that there's new evidence that have been found that was being hidden in New York FBI office. Do you not hear about that?
What
Pallets
does
of
that what
information.
does that have to do with the other data? Because I just want to point out nobody has been charged.
Correct, and that's why
So is
we
the
do
whole thing they're going to
investigation.
be so why not release it? It's already been gone over by the FBI. It's already been reviewed by the FBI. Why not release it?
Well, that's when we start getting into what you would refer to as a conspiracy theory. I'm trying not to do that today with you, Tommy. If that makes sense.
A conspiracy theory? Why?
Well, there's a lot of influential people
Is there
in these.
anybody that's still? Is there anybody that could still potentially have statute of limitations? Like still
Uh,
skirt statute of limitations? Because most of the people
well,
involved would have been 10 years ago.
sure. So I think that statutes of limitation only applies when they actually have the information and it was decided that they are or aren't going to prosecute. Here we have a situation where we have conspiracy against rights and we have a RICO case where we have potentially the people of power to go ahead and do said investigation are involved in potentially preventing that from happening. So therefore, we have to look at statutes of limitation in question here because of the potential cover up. Does that make
Wait,
sense?
what? No, why, what? I'm just saying that so 2015 would be the statute of limitations on trafficking. It's 10 years. Okay. So 2015. Maxwell was already under investigation at that point in time. So I doubt very much there were very, very many people working or talking to him.
So are you saying that all of this is just a moot point?
No, I'm saying that it's not likely that anybody is still available to be charged.
So you don't think Bill Clinton is available?
No, I think it would have, even if that was true, it would have been past the statute of limitations. But my question is, why not release it? I don't understand why you're saying not to release it. Because nobody's been charged. Donald Trump had the ability in his DOJ in his first term. He had the ability to charge a bunch of people. He didn't. He had access to all of that information. He's outright said in previous ones, like, well, maybe I would release it, but unless I believed it was unfair to certain people. And also, they say mean things in there. So he started skirting about why he would release it. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying. Why come out and go, here it is, here's the document, and then it's completely redacted to the point it just literally skirts the shit out of every single news story. It was so redacted that it got no coverage. There was nothing in it. Why release it? Be like, here it is, but also there's nothing in it. What's the point of that?
Well, I think that Pam Bondi was very upset about the fact that this information was not given to her by the FBI in the New York office in the basement, whatever. So, are you suggesting that because Trump could have done it in his first term and didn't, therefore complacency equals guilty?
I'm saying that he has very clearly stated that he would release. So he stated that he would release documents. That at no point, at any point in him saying that, did he ever bring up that there was ongoing investigations. At no point did he state that there was some investigation to protect. You're creating this. This is post hoc rationalization, by the way. You're creating this circumstance. He has never stated that there were ongoing court cases as reasons that they couldn't release it. He has never gone after people, even though for 4 years he had the ability to do exactly that. In fact, he did the opposite. No one was went after. Ghislaine Maxwell was charged, and so was Epstein, to which Trump said, I wish her well. But at no point, so you're making up an excuse for a reason he hasn't released stuff. He said he was going to release it. He said this was a central campaign promise. I'm going to release the Epstein files. And he has waffled on that repeatedly. And the question is why? If someone is hiding something from you, right? If someone is doing something if someone is hiding something from you, if someone is doing something in which they're not being truthful, or what they say is not matching up to their actions, you should probably ask why. In this instance, why will he not release them? Well, look at the evidence. We know for a fact that he was on Epstein's flights. We know that he was best friends with Epstein. We know that he knew Epstein well. We know that he talked about his dating profile. There's a whole list of stuff that goes on, right? That Donald Trump looks very guilty in this regard. And he was friends with Diddy. Looks very guilty in this regard. And instead of being like, oh, here are the documents, he withholds them and the information in them. And the question is why? Why would an innocent person do that? No, an innocent person would not do that. An innocent person would be like, here's the deal, here's the files. Or I can't release them because of X.
Well, I do understand your logical thinking. As far as Trump being on the flight log, it was domestic flights only, so not out of the United States. That's documented.
I don't think it matters.
It does.
I don't think it matters. I think that I think it at least raises enough red flags. And I've said before on here, there are people that were with Epstein that are not inherently involved in the criminal aspect of stuff. There has to be, right? You can't allow everybody that comes in there to be like, oh yeah, here's this, and then run the risk of someone running out and being like, oh. So a lot of people that he interacted with were not knowledgeable about what he was doing in that regard.
Right.
Right.
I agree
So
with that.
right. So to say that just because someone is involved with someone's fine. The problem here is that it looks guilty as fuck. And instead of being open and honest about it, we have a guy that refuses to release the information.
Okay, well,
And that is a good point. Is Donald Trump not saying that we should have transparency?
he is.
Right. So then why are we not getting transparency with this?
Have you ever heard of sealed indictments?
Yeah, obviously.
And why do they have sealed indictments?
Why do they have sealed indictments?
Yeah.
A lot of different reasons. Could be to protect the victims, could be to protect the evidence, could be to protect the case. There's a whole lot of reasons.
Sure. And so
Could be national security interests.
Right. So I think that being that in today's society, we want information now, we want things now, whether we can afford it or whether we're entitled to it, doesn't matter. We just want, right? And so when we look at investigations, we say if we don't, as the public, know about or given this information, therefore it's not true. And I have to like kind of fight back on that narrative because that's not living in a reality of things that we already know.
Okay, if you have a cheating boyfriend or girlfriend and you're like, okay, well, let me see your phone because you're just at your wits' end. All of the evidence is pointing to them cheating, and they're like, no, you can't see my phone. They're like, you look like you're cheating. Let me see your phone. They're like, no, I'll give you all of the text logs, but it's all redacted, and you can't see anything on it.
Sure.
Right? It looks suspicious, right?
Well, I don't. If let's say your partner had a backup device that was downloaded all the information on, and they were to say, "Sure, here's my phone. Here's my phone, Tommy," you go through it and you don't find anything. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not cheating. It just means that they move the data,
Right,
right?
but we're not arguing about this. We're arguing about why he didn't turn it over. And I think the obvious answer is pretty simple to that, right? Because if Biden was doing this, you would be like, what the hell? If Hunter Biden was doing this as an attempt to protect themselves or their family, you would very clearly draw the obvious conclusion that something nefarious is happening or likely happening, or we don't know at least, but we should.
So I think that as a president, you need to depend on people around you, right? Like you're not going to be the one that actually goes and looks through the files to determine like we're going to release this and this. Like you have to depend on people, right? And so if you depend on these people for transparency and those said people are giving you the information saying, "Hey, this is all I found," but they don't tell you the fact that they didn't look in all said places. They just looked in the place that they said it was going to be, and that was the end of it. And so for you, you say, "Hey, they told me this is all they have, and therefore this is what I released." In all reality, we have a palette of evidence that's in some obscure location at some office that nobody knew about. Kind of suspicious, right? I mean, that's not Donald Trump's fault.
Okay, I don't
I
see
know.
where even seeing that there's new documents in New York, by the way.
You didn't. You're not finding information about how they found pallets of evidence in the New York FBI office. You're not seeing that on the good old World Wide Web there.
The Attorney General is accusing federal agencies of withholding documents related to it, but I don't know where.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just want to point out, it's talking about redacting. This is right here. Jeffrey Epstein case redaction takes over FBI's New York office. It says right now, according to multiple sources, priority one is redacting the files. So this is actually talking about the New York DOJ redacting those files.
Okay. So would you agree that the Epstein file and potential investigation isn't done yet? Like the process isn't done.
Dude, it's been years.
I know.
Investigations don't take that long. 1 to 2 years tops.
So I'm gonna move the conversation a little bit forward. I'm not pivoting. So when we look at the JFK, right, and we found out that like Mossad had a heavy hand in that, like, do you not see how Mossad and other intelligence agencies have had a long-standing influence on our politics?
Sure. But that's, I feel, irrelevant to Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think that Jeffrey Epstein is involved in that. So, I mean, if you had evidence that that was the case, sure. If that's why they won't release it, but as of now, we don't have any evidence of that.
So is it just the willful uh, uh, um, perspective that these powerful, influential people that have been around the people of power in this country is just happenstance? And we don't want to connect the dots because if we did, we'd have to come to the realization that our system of governance is false. Is that what we're doing?
I think that there's very clearly that Israel and the Mossad absolutely have files on various different people and uh, absolutely have spied on our politicians to get dirt on them. We've done a very similar thing as well. To say that Epstein is connected with them in that regard, there's no evidence. It's not connecting dots.
Okay.
Connecting dots would be drawing the evidence, would not be coming to a conclusion before you're reaching it. So
Okay.
you need the
So
evidence, and then you can draw conclusions.
so with the other guy, you had said that there was nobody of power who was controlling Jeffy, right? Do you think the same thing about Diddy? You don't think that there was some like controlling person, or was this all orchestrated by Diddy
No,
alone?
Diddy was an insanely rich person with a lot of influence across music and entertainment, and yeah, he used a lot of fear and intimidation in ways that were very different to what
Have
happened with
you
Epstein.
have you heard Jim Carrey's testimony about what he said? Have you heard about that with his role with the cable guy? Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, dude. I'm not going to
I
go into
don't.
detail on here, but basically, he had to do a certain something to get that role. That was the role that broke his career, made him somebody in Hollywood. Like, do you think that people have to like give up some type of like control to go ahead and become like a superstar?
They have to give up control?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, supposedly, like he had to get in a shower with said person and wash another man's back. Once
Yeah,
he
I'm
did
aware
that,
stuff like that happened in Hollywood pretty frequently.
yeah. I mean, is that a world? Is that another world that could exist that you and I have no purview of?
Yeah, I'm aware. It does exist and it did exist.
All right. So we can recognize that, but we can't recognize a world where very powerful people manipulate other peoples of power to get things done on their behalf and interests.
I'm thinking that you're not really understanding what I'm saying here because I largely agree that that does happen, but to say that it's connected in ways that you can't prove and there's no evidence for, that's the problem.
I got you. And so can we conclude that just because we don't have evidence, it never happened?
Can we? No, no. But drawing a conclusion that something happened based off evidence we don't have, right?
Yeah.
Based off incomplete evidence would be conjecture. More so, the problem here, like I've said, is that Trump won't release the files. Wouldn't that? I mean, let's assume for a second that you're correct, that the Mossad in Israel is involved and was involved in this whole deal, right? Why should we not be purview to that? Why would Trump protect that? Why would you be okay with him protecting that? What's the best and worst case scenario? The worst case scenario, there's a lot of politicians that are evil people that got controlled and manipulated by foreign actors.
Yes.
Okay. Best case scenario is nothing. Shouldn't we know that? Why would that need to be hidden from us?
Well, because of the ramifications, when you have, if you look at an emergency situation, we have a continuity of government plan, right? And if some tragedy happened and, 2/3 of our governance was no longer here, we have a plan to enact so whereas we still function as a country. And so when you look at like Executive Order 13818 and 848, it is that continuation of governance that has to do with trafficking and sexual
Right. Let's
activity.
assume it's 100% of the government. Okay. They
Yeah.
come out of session. They resign. Governors appoint people, and then we move on. We go up
There
into the
it is.
midterms. We go into the normal election.
Yep. And there it is. That's why it's so much bigger than just Jeffy,
Right.
in my opinion.
But why should we not be privy to that information? Why should we allow? Should we not, as a country, know that our representatives are being controlled by foreign dignitaries in foreign countries? Why should we not have? Why should that not be something that we're privy to?
Because I think that you have to look at the overall good. Because like
You
if
think the
you were
overall
to just,
good is protecting P3DOs?
no, I think that the overall good is to try to wake as many people up to what's really going on as possible, so you don't
Without
have
giving us the
complete
information.
Huh?
Without giving us any information.
Well, I think we do have information. It's just a controlled release, so you don't have anarchy on the streets. I
You
mean,
think it would
can
be
you?
anarchy? I mean, why would we? But do you see how far you guys have come? Like how far the right has come from saying we need to target this group of horrific people to now we need to let them walk and everybody should walk because of how horrific it's going to be for a country. It may look bad, but we are an informed populace, and knowing that our politicians are corrupt, we should be able to know that. Dennis,
Right.
appreciate the $2. Thank you. I just realized that Trump's Golden Dome will be powered by Maga. With the amount of deflection they do, it would be a surprise if anything could get through.
That's funny.
Appreciate it, Dennis.
It's a lot of power, by the way. Maybe too
Well,
overwhelmed.
I mean, I do have some. Okay.
So I think that you're a little bit closed-minded when it comes to just our politicians. It's all
I'm not.
politicians around the world.
I'm not close-minded. I'm trying to. I know, but saying it's all politicians does not mean. Saying it's all politicians does not circumvent that reality, that fact.
So when you look at data when it comes to the church, specifically Catholicism, right? Like you do realize that Rome didn't die or unalive. It just turned itself into a church, right? So when you look at what's happening within that and you put that together
Katie?
with the fact, huh? What was that?
Sorry. Katie, are you in here? Do you want to come ask? I guess I can ask if you don't want to hop in.
What's up?
Someone's telling me about is Katie joining? Okay. I'll have Katie ask because I just read the Insta.
I got
By the
you.
way, really quick, before we get into the tea here, we do have a 20 sub goal. Nobody can sub over on YouTube. I am going to put a sub over there because it looks like, but you guys can support in that way. I'm going to put a sub over on this account because unfortunately the other account got hit with the suspension. I'm in the talks with Pickles. I'm waiting on Pickles to get approved for his agency, and then I can join and he can review it. He can have him review it, and hopefully it'll come back on because it's complete bullshit. So, but that's the hope, is that we're in an agency, in the next week, and we can get this all resolved. Katie? Well, we have a 27 goal, so help us out over there, because it's about to get heated right now. Go ahead.
I have bars. Can you hear me?
Rap something for us. Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Hoodlum, I'm being told that you've been investigated by a grand jury for your participation in a rape. Is this correct?
I gave a deposition, yeah, on a situation that happened like 20 years ago. Nothing came of it for me.
Because you reported?
I'm using my story that I haven't told in 20 years as a way to advocate for other men to hold men accountable for their behavior. I didn't personally do anything wrong, but I feel looking back at the situation that I could have changed some things that could have potentially changed the outcome. And I'm using my story as a way to be an advocate for other men to hold other men accountable. Which I think is a good thing, but in true form, TikTok has turned that into a game of telephone, turning that story into something that it never was, you know, condemning me somehow for doing said thing, which isn't necessarily what happened at all. That makes sense.
You're saying something it never was, and you did not report it.
You're breaking up, Katie.
Yeah, no, I think said something about not reporting it. So the person involved reported it, and so I didn't associate myself with said person anymore. The attacker, we'll call him, or the provocator, or whatever you want to call him. I nixed all contact with them, and I gave them my testimony about what happened, for the situation that I came home to, and did my part then, and I'm doing my part now. I mean, I think that this subject is a very strong subject right now when it comes to, it's all men. I think that until it's no men, I think that men holding other men accountable is what I'm advocating for.
Does anybody else know? I don't know anything about it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well,
I haven't seen anything. I was just told this, and Katie's breaking up, so knows more about it than I do.
I only got pieces of it in the comments.
What?
I can hear you now. Now I can't hear you.
Yeah, I only got pieces of it in the comments, so I don't know what's going on either. But from what I'm understanding, your story keeps changing, and it's something that you did not report.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't actually know this person. So I knew that it was reported, and so I didn't think that I needed to report something that was already reported, and I was contacted by the investigators, and went before the grand jury of the situation and gave my testimony. So I mean, here again, I did everything that I was asked to do in that situation. I know that in public opinion, everyone's going to have their own opinion, but like I said, I'm bringing this story up to advocate for men holding other men accountable. And I'm holding myself accountable on what I could have done different 20 years ago.
Well, you didn't bring the story up. I did.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. And I have no problem talking about it.
I don't really know what's happening, so I'm just trying to get contacts from.
Yeah,
the chat.
I'm not gonna say anything, Tommy, because yeah, I don't want to mess your live up, Tommy.
I don't know what's. go for it.
We'll have a good
If
time.
it goes
at the
down,
house
by the way,
with
if it goes
people
down,
that
by the
I-
way, I'll be over on. I don't know if Josh wants to. Josh knows anything that's going on. By the way, we have a 20 sub goal over on the YouTubes because I can't have you guys sub over here. But if you guys want to support, by all means, we're trying to get it to go out and get some more support over on YouTube, and so that we get more viewers in here. But you guys can help out with the Corgi goal over here. I think that's Corgi, and help get it out on the For You page would be great. 600 people in here is nice. Sorry, go ahead. And there's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Go ahead, Josh. I'll be right back.
Oh no, I have no idea. I've never heard of any of this. I just know Hoodie from his all this other bullshit rhetoric. I just think it's funny, man. I think it's wild the cope that you guys are going through. Like, the richest man in the world yesterday called the most powerful man in the world a pedophile, right? Like, we can all agree that's what he attached Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, one of the worst people in our history, like at least in my lifetime. Who do we have? Like P. Diddy, maybe? Jeffrey Epstein? Like those are to attach somebody's name to those two is like the worst of the worst. And you guys are coping with it so wildly. It's boggling my mind. Why can't you just admit that there's some fucked up stuff going on with Donald Trump that needs to be investigated? We should find out if this is, because we know Katie Johnson exists. We've read her testimony.
So
This
can
testimony's been for like 2 years.
Yeah. So let me just say this, right? So if there were said information that somebody knows and has when it comes to Jeffy and Donald Trump, right? Like, don't you think that would have been the first thing that they would have used rather than like, I don't know, like business records, falsification and or real estate fraud? I think those are like a stretch at the best. You don't think that they would have just gone for this?
Well, one, he wasn't convicted because of he was.
I'm just asking
president.
you.
So
I'm just
yeah, no, and
asking.
I'm answering you. And two, this stuff has been out. It's been out for over 2 years now. I don't know if you know there's mypalmbeachclerk.com is the county clerk that released these through Ron DeSantis 2 years ago. I think it was 2023. Ron DeSantis had, I forget what the guy's name is. The Palm Beach clerk released him on his clerk website, the county website. You can go to mypalmbeachclerk.com and you can search Jeffrey Epstein within the search bar. And the first thing that pulls up is the release of the Jeffrey Epstein court case by Ron DeSantis. Like, he literally has the order that Ron DeSantis gave him to release the Jeffrey Epstein. And in that court case, it vividly describes how Donald Trump assaulted a 13-year-old girl. And then the next day, the girl was upset and feared she may have become pregnant. And Donald Trump threw her $300 and told her to go get an abortion. This was lined out within testimony. But this stuff couldn't be brought against Donald Trump because he was president of the United States. Like, this stuff is out. And why you guys have ignored it for the last 2 years while we've been screaming this boggles my mind. It took the richest man in the world to point at Donald Trump and said, "Hey, this is happening for you guys to pay attention." We've been saying it for fucking years.
Well, right. The
Sorry,
Democrats have
I
been
gotta say my
saying it
language.
for a long time. But here again, if what you're saying is true, then if they wanted to destroy Mega and Donald Trump, wouldn't it be just so easy then? I mean, I don't understand why the Democrats, which have been saying it for years, wouldn't have just pulled the trigger and just done it. Because in my opinion, it's that both sides of the aisle have dirt on their hands, and it's like to bring that up is to like commit unaliving to your own self. That's
Right.
my
So when he was found liable, which means responsible for essaying E. Jean Carroll, what did you guys say?
I think that it was very suspicious as far as timing.
Right, you didn't believe it. So when he was found guilty of 34 counts of felony fraud, what did you guys say?
Well, I have CPAs in my family, and I've talked to a lot of CPAs that all concur that they had invoices, legal invoices that were given, and they put it in the right category, which would be legal expenses. So, I mean, there again, it's
What?
sketchy at best.
Cool. So
What?
the first court case, which was a civil court case, you said that was sketchy. You didn't believe it. It was suspicious. The second court case, which was a criminal court case, you said that one was sketchy as well. Hey man, we've been telling you for 2 years that there's been court testimony of Donald Trump doing these things to a 13-year-old girl. You don't believe that one either. So even if it had gone to court, like if the timing had worked out where Donald Trump had lost the first election and he was these charges were pressed against, you still wouldn't have believed it. You guys
Well, I'm
make
not-
up excuses.
hold
Even
on.
when it goes to court and there's evidence against Donald Trump, you still don't believe it.
So
So
if-
why would you believe this one all of a sudden?
If we use Tommy's train of rationale, then just because we have information here, information there, it doesn't connect the dots to the accusations being made because there's no direct evidence
What?
of said.
No, there is direct evidence
That's not-
of Donald
yeah,
Trump.
there is direct evidence. It's been in court. It was used against him. They found him guilty on one and liable on the other.
Yeah, this isn't
Uh,
even
Stringing
remotely
stuff
comparable.
together.
You saying that there's not a nexus on one thing, or me saying that there's not a nexus on one thing to connect two things, is distinctly different than there being actual evidence in court cases against Donald Trump.
That's like me saying that when I walk outside and the ground is wet everywhere, that because I didn't see it rain, therefore it didn't rain. It's just happenstance that it's wet everywhere. Like,
I
come
don't
on.
even know what that's supposed to mean.
It means that if I
No.
didn't see it rain,
When you're
therefore
when
it
you're
just-
when you're when you're I don't know
weird
what the
analogy.
legal standard for finding a nexus is, but finding a nexus is saying this happened and that happened and this is the connection between them, right?
the reality
So you would need
is
to show for your nexus that Epstein had a connection to Israel. That would be your thing, and you haven't done that. You said, well, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was yada yada, and he had that, and all this other stuff,
Absolutely.
and that's the connection. But that's not evidence. That's not a nexus, right? That's association. Association isn't going to be used against you in court unless it's like, I mean, there can be instances it can be, but in this instance, it doesn't create a nexus between these two things.
right, and it's just like the ground being wet everywhere because the sun's out and it's not raining, therefore it didn't rain, right, Tommy?
No,
If
there
there
was
was
very
court
real
testimony that
direct
it rained,
evidence. Yeah, right. If there was video footage that it rained, but you didn't see it rain, it still rained, right? And we can use
Well, there's-
reasonable
this is the-
deduction in this.
But
If
there's-
we see rain everywhere, if we see water on the ground and everywhere, we can deduct that it probably rained.
Right, and the
There
same
could
thing
be
with
some other
Maxwell and her
insane. There
father.
could be other insane thing that's going on, but we can deduct that it rained. In Trump's instance, there's water everywhere. We can deduct that it rained.
Okay, so why can't we
I
deduct
don't know what
that?
you mean. You talk to CPAs.
Oh, yeah, you know what those are. They're
Because that's
they're
not even
account-
what that's not. I'm not sure what you thought the crime that he was committed was, but
falsifying business
legal
records.
fees has nothing to do.
Yeah,
Classifying
falsifying
as legal
business
fees has
records.
nothing to
Hold on.
do.
Hold on, falsifying business records and the act of committing another crime, which is what the case consisted of. So the predicating crime is the business record falsification because of the larger crime, which was to negate this information coming out before the election. Correct?
Strike
Did I-
that.
did I get it
The
wrong?
predicate crime. The predicate crime is the precursor. The actual crime is falsification of business records.
Yeah, and
Right.
we
I
had
don't
a
know what
lawyer.
legal fees has. I don't know what legal fees has to do with that. He was convicted in court, and I'm not really sure what your argument is going to be here because he was convicted in court. The evidence is overwhelming.
So
don't know,
the
sure.
the reason why I bring up CPAs is like when it comes to like receivables, right? Let's say you only have 7 buckets to put things in. We have like operating expenses, we have legal expenses, we have payroll, right? So as we get these expenses, we have to decide what bucket these expenses go into, right? And when you have a lawyer that gives you an invoice for legal fees, right? That would go into legal expenses, right? And when you look at some,
This
The
is
problem is not
this is
the problem
deflection.
is not that the problem is not that Cohen was paid. He is deflecting, but that's not the problem. The problem is not that Cohen was paid. It's not what the it's not even what the predicate crime is.
what is it then?
It's
The
not. It
NDA.
doesn't have anything to do about whether or not Michael Cohen was paid. Hey Trixie, appreciate the 10 gifted. Thank you, Trixie. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat? We're halfway. Whoa, we're halfway there. We got 10 gifted subs from Trixie. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat? Appreciate it, Trixie. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Hey, Hoodie, just
No,
real
the problem
quick,
is
man.
that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I forgot you.
No, I
you
was
were
gonna go
going
into
with
the
that thought.
mine's gonna be longer.
I just wanted to get a yes or no. Do you think Elon Musk was right? Do you think Donald Trump is involved in the Epstein files, and that's why he won't release them?
No, I don't. I think that what we witnessed over the last couple of days is a rich man that thought he paid his way into an administration so he could get his way. And the second that that Trump took away the EV mandates, which directly affects his interests, he threw a tantrum like a 10-year-old.
So Elon Musk is lying.
Well, yeah, I mean,
about-
because from Musk's perspective, he paid all this money, did all this effort to get Trump elected, and all the other billionaires around Trump are benefiting and not him. So that, yeah. But regardless, let's go back to the crime really quick. What is it you think that Trump did? Like, why do you think that he's innocent of this crime?
So I think that when it comes to the business records, I think that the invoices were paid out and put in as business expenses because that's what the accounts receivable individual and
So
and
how
her
they were
bosses
labeled,
dictated
but how
it.
they were labeled is not what this crime is about. The fact that Michael Cohen was reimbursed for paying off certain people is what this court case largely was about. Not in its
And he
entirety,
did
but it
that.
was a major part
And,
of it. Whether
and he
what
did
it was
that.
labeled as isn't. So there was a question about whether or not it was labeled as whether it was labeled as fees or reimbursement. And Trump has already publicly said that he reimbursed Cohen. He publicly said in a tweet that he reimbursed Cohen. So the question
So
was whether or not Donald Trump directed Michael Cohen to pay off Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. And the answer to that was yes, because of the payments that were made to Michael Cohen. Those were reimbursements. Those weren't
you also
legal expenses or retain.
and
Trump tried to claim they were retainers, and Michael Cohen was like, "No, here's the evidence. I paid off Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal at the direction of Donald Trump," which
but
David
this is
Pecker
also
agreed that they had set this scheme up.
so you also have the fact that this person Cohen openly admitted stealing from the Trump administration, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars of over invoicing for things that he did not
No, he said
do.
he stole $40,000,
He
and
lied to the Trump administration through invoices on work that was not
he
performed.
stole
He took out a
$40,000,
loan.
but it doesn't matter.
Oh, of course it doesn't, right? Of course
Well,
it
it doesn't
doesn't.
matter to
Because
Trump's.
you're
It
American.
doesn't reflect on one way. No, it doesn't reflect one way on Trump's criminality. It does not absolve Trump, nor does it convict him. It has nothing to do with
So
Trump's criminality.
wait a minute, though. It does have a lot to do with the moral character of the witness supposedly telling you all this other information.
We don't actually need Michael Cohen's testimony to convict Donald Trump.
So
In
is it
fact, I think
illegal
Michael
to?
Cohen's testimony. I think that Michael Cohen's testimony in that trial was probably the least effective.
Here's the biggest issue with
Can you
that.
address what he just said? Like we didn't.
Yeah,
need
can you
Michael
address
Cohen.
that?
It wasn't.
Like,
It wasn't dependent on Michael Cohen's testimony. It was literally the paperwork and the numbers. The numbers were there proving that this had been done. Michael Cohen was a sidebar to that, just backing up that he was the one that was involved. Can you address anything we
Yeah.
said?
So is it illegal to pay somebody an NDA?
That's not what the crime that was being committed
No, I'm
is. It
asking
doesn't
you.
have anything to
Just
do
a
with
yes
it.
or no? Yes, no.
It would
No.
not be a crime, but it's also you're trying to characterize that as being a part of this case when it's not. So asking it
So
is an irrelevant question. It's
so
completely
here's the
irrelevant to
biggest
whether not Donald Trump did it.
Here's the biggest issue that I have with the evidence in this case. It's working under the assumption that all of this was done because of the election. My argument is that it was done to protect the Trump brand, regardless of the election. It's the Trump brand that was being protected.
Okay.
And the assumption that it was
But
specifically for the election is an assumption.
That's only one of the predicate crimes, but just to point out that this did not become an issue for Trump until October of 2016. Why would that be the case?
So
but regardless, that's not the only thing that he was trying to conceal. The Stormy Daniel payment in and of itself was tax evasion. You don't understand that. Donald Trump. Okay, so let me go over the case really quick for you so that you're aware of this, okay? David Pecker, who owned the National Enquirer, testified that him and Donald Trump had set up a catch and kill scheme, right? Which is to buy up these stories. Trump failed. Appreciate the gifted sub, by the way. Thank you. Could we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat? We got 11 subs on the day. Nice. That he had set up a catch and kill scheme with David Pecker to literally get these stories out of the press so that they didn't blow up right before the election. Okay? So Trump was very clearly concerned about it. David Pecker testified that that was the case, testified that they agreed to it. Trump, interestingly enough, really never contested that they set that up. So there's that. Cassidy Hutchinson testified to something to that degree, that they were setting up a catch and kill scheme and that nothing was signed off on by Donald Trump. Nothing was paid out unless Donald Trump oversaw it, which also had to do with the money aspect. Okay? That Trump's names were on the signatures that were going off to Stormy Daniels. Now, there's three problems. One is that he was trying to... there's three problems here, okay? So he committed falsification of business records in the first degree, which is a felony case for trying to either conceal a crime or trying to influence an election, which you can make an argument that he didn't try to influence an election. I think it's a bad argument, whatever. But the payment to Stormy Daniels in and of itself was inherently him trying to cover up the commission of a crime, okay? Because he inherently is trying to not have her pay taxes. My assumption is it's probably part of what their agreement was. He paid it through the campaign so that she didn't have to pay taxes on it, okay? And that he could take it, they could be a gift or whatever, and then she didn't have to pay taxes on it. So the whole point was that circumvented tax law. The other one is, was it a campaign violation that he paid out to her? The answer to that is yes, because there's no way that he could pay out for something that's completely unrelated to the campaign. And the third one would be the attempt to influence an election. Very clearly, I think we can all agree he did at least one of those. Which one you agreed to may be a matter of personal opinion, but that's what a jury's supposed to do. Did he try and commit one of those crimes? The answer was, or cover up one of those crimes or influence an election. The answer is yes. Which one? Who knows? It depends on what you want to do. But he did absolutely falsify business records. Michael Cohen came in and said, here's this recording of us talking. David Pecker's mentioned in it. It mentions the amount of money, the same amount of money that was paid off to Karen McDougal. And it's talking about him paying this off. Right? There's an audio recording. So Michael Cohen's thing was, I paid this out. Here's the recording of me saying that I paid this out personally, and then Trump would reimburse me. Trump did. I did overcharge him $40,000. I forget the reason he did it, but he took out a loan, and Trump reimbursed him. Trump tried to argue, it wasn't a reimbursement. I paid him a legal retainer, because Trump was trying to remove himself from that criminal aspect. But that didn't work. The jury didn't buy it. And very clearly, because Trump admitted publicly that it was in fact a reimbursement, he couldn't evade that. There was a tweet where Trump said, I reimbursed Michael Cohen, which had to do with the payment. So I'm not sure what you're arguing. When you look at everything in context, I'm not sure what you're arguing, because there's not really anything to argue. Andy, appreciate the appreciate the membership. Thank you, Andy, for becoming the member over on there.
So I think that
it's a gifted sub. Appreciate it, Andy. Appreciate it. And Tia, appreciate the 5 gifted. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Can we get some dubs And Drumsticks in the chat for Tia and Andy. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're at 17 out of 20 subs on the day. I don't have subs set up over on here, but this is a backup account, so it would be like if you want to do it anyways, or just to help out or support or whatever. Sorry, go ahead.
So my biggest issue is the fact that invoices were made by Mr. Cohen. Nothing gets paid without an invoice. That was what Michael Cohen was told. Michael Cohen made these invoices. The fact that things were done or not done is irrelevant. He made the invoices for said. That in itself is fraudulent, right? And so if you look at the perspective that Donald Trump is the one who is dictating all of these things.
Why would the invoices be fraudulent?
Because it's for said things that were not performed.
No, he did. Michael Cohen did perform it. He had documentation that he took a loan out on his house to pay this off for Donald Trump.
I'm talking about the invoices submitted. I'm talking about the invoices submitted. And furthermore, it is not...
Right, the invoices submitted include the $130,000 and $150,000. Trump paid him approximately $340,000, something like that, of which included payments that were made to a media company, and Michael Cohen overcharged for $40,000, and there was roughly $300,000. So Michael Cohen took out a loan to pay this for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump paid him back.
So who's responsible for prosecuting federal election crimes?
You don't have to prosecute federal election crimes for the predicate crime, nor does someone have to be convicted. Just that a jury determines that there was some form of predicate crime. And this is the way it's worked. This is the way it's always worked. And any other way would make it not make sense. A jury gets to determine if the person was trying to conceal a crime. And this is literally on a day-to-day basis in our jury system. Predicate crimes, the jury gets to decide whether or not the person committed them.
In what other case has a state found a federal crime that somebody has not been found guilty on, and it being a predicated crime? Can you name any other?
All the time.
No.
Can I name you a case off the top of my head? No, but it happens all the time. It happens all the time.
It's never happened.
It absolutely does happen, and it happens in our criminal justice system every single day. There was literally a Supreme Court case on this very thing about the predicate crime, and the courts have repeatedly held that a state does not need, that it does not matter for federal purposes whether or not someone was charged on a federal level, just that the jury believed that predicate crime was being committed.
So let me
determine that.
Let me ask you, why, when the Supreme Court was looking at presidential immunity, why did Chunkin stay the case while the Supreme Court was reviewing it, whereas Bragg in New York and the strong direction of the Trump defense?
Because there's no federal question.
No, hold on.
Because there's no federal question.
I'm almost done. Why did they not wait for the presidential immunity decision come out before they started the trial, allowing for the poison fruit to be brought into the case?
Because presidential immunity has to do federally, and it has to do with state crimes if someone's being charged. There's no federal question in this crime. But there's no federal question in this. There's no federal question. That's why they don't need to pause it. There's nothing that the Supreme Court needs to answer federally.
Hold on. The
immunity does not apply to him.
No evidence shall be even looked at. Period. When it comes to
the Supreme Court. 1 second.
Yeah. So I honestly think that this whole case is just a matter of time before it gets thrown out.
Didn't the Supreme Court right here.
Now.
We've successfully talked
right here. The Supreme Court. I thought the
Supreme.
I know the Supreme Court reviewed this. By the way, the Supreme Court ruled that former President Donald Trump does not have immunity from prosecution in New York hush money case because there's no federal question. He did, by the way, move away from that. So,
not what they said, Tommy.
I literally just read. Yes, they did. The Supreme Court ruled that he does not have immunity in that case.
That's not what they said, sir. That's not at all what they said, Tommy. They did not look at that specific case at all. What they looked at was whether or not the president has presidential immunity, and the answer was yes, he does. Period. It did not specify a case, a proceeding, a judgment. It said on the merits of does the president have presidential immunity? And the answer was yes. And that means
There
that
was an
no
immunity
evidence
case.
can be can be
There was an
brought
immunity
forth in a
case.
court, period, when it has to do with presidential acts.
1 second. Didn't the Supreme Court already rule on this?
Yeah, the president has immunity on presidential acts. Yes, that's correct. That's why Chunkin in D.C. Stayed the case until this came out, so they could have a better finding on
What
the
does this?
evidence.
What does this
submitted by
have?
the
Stop!
prosecution.
Stop! What does this have to stop? What does this have to do with anything? Is it part of his core? Let's just use that case really quick. Is it part of his core constitutional duties?
To write a check
Is
in the
right?
Oval
Is
Office?
hush money to write a check? No, to write a check. He wasn't in the Oval Office. To write a check to Stormy Daniels. Is it part of his core constitutional duty to try and get them to sign NDAs so he can win his presidential campaign?
When it has to do with testimony based on his executive assistant in the White House, absolutely.
It wasn't his executive
That's called
assistant in the White
evidence.
House.
That's evidence.
Does it have to do? Sorry, no. You're being fucking disingenuous as fuck. And if you don't stop being disingenuous, you're gonna fucking go. Is it part of his core constitutional duty that he has Stormy Daniels sign an NDA and pays her $150,000? In what way is that
No.
part of his core constitutional duty?
I'm talking
Not
about
that
the
someone
evidence
works for
he
him.
did.
Hold on. Not that someone works for him. Because even in that regard, someone working for you, if it's not part of your core constitutional duty, it does not matter.
So if somebody testifies about an official act that the president is doing, which would be writing the check in the Oval Office.
That's not an official
and
act.
using
That's
that
not an
as
official
evidence-
act. That's
Hold
not
on.
an official act. That's not an official act. That's not an official act. You ain't gonna gaslight me
If
like
he's in
that,
their
bud. That
official
is not an
capacity.
official act. That is
I
not
know
an
it's
official act. Show me where that's an official
sucks.
act. You could not even make the argument that that's an official act. And by the way, Supreme Court has had the right to review this and they have refused. I just want to point that out. They have not heard this case. They had the
it's in the
ability to do
appellate
that. That is not a core constitutional duty. That is not an official act. And you bastardizing this is getting pathetic.
Okay. All right. That's fine. We can have a
He was
different
not in the Oval Office. He was not in the Oval Office when he set up the scheme with David Pecker. He was not in the Oval Office when he directed Michael Cohen to pay. He was in the Oval Office when he wrote those checks, which should concern you, and for some reason it doesn't. John, appreciate it. Thank you. Do you have an argument against the legality? All you're arguing is, well, he doesn't have immunity. It wasn't ruled in court, and it's not even from their ruling. It doesn't even qualify for it. And by the way, I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court heard this case or rejected it outright, where they wouldn't hear it. So you don't have any ground to stand on, period.
Let me ask you, Tommy. With all of this information, with all of these court cases, with all of these allegations, with all of this stuff, right? Like the Democrats tried so hard to destroy this man. It's very obvious to the American
We didn't try
people.
anything. He did it to himself. I just laid out to you in linear order this court case and how he broke the law. And there's other ways as well. He has lost in court, okay? Period. There's nothing to discuss. And you trying to turn that around and say, well, the Democrats came after him. They didn't. He did this himself.
Sure.
You're literally trying to victimize Trump over some shit
fine.
he did.
We could-
Democrats
okay.
did not unjustly come after him, period. He was convicted in court. He's been found liable in court on numerous different occasions. He continues to lose. And it's crazy to me, guys. Your arguments are like, well, the system's not fair. Then why does he keep losing to the Supreme Court? He's lost these cases. There's nothing to argue here.
Okay, so let's just say what you're saying is all true, right? And because it really doesn't matter to my point, is the American people have decided and voted, right? And this is the biggest jury pool, arguably, that Donald Trump has ever faced, right? Was the 2024 election. And the American people decided that they were going to vote him in as president again, correct?
Oh yeah, you won. We lost. We get it. But hey, man, I wanted to ask. So I wanted to continue
Oh, yeah,
down
we're
with the
gonna-
Epstein
we're just
Files
gonna-
thing. Yeah, because the whole live. I don't know if you noticed. The background is all about the Epstein Files.
Yes.
Do you think Donald Trump should release the unredacted Epstein Files now to prove his innocence? Now that you think Elon's lying about him, the only way he can prove this is to actually release the Epstein Files, right?
Well, why doesn't Elon release them himself?
Yeah, you think he's going to be the next Edward Snowden? He has the data, right? Like, what if he does? What if the Epstein files come out and they say that Donald Trump actually did these things? What then?
So I think that, like I was telling Tommy, there's active sealed indictments. There's investigations as we speak going on.
Yeah, in February, he
Conti-
instructed Pam
continuity of
Bondi to
government.
release. Yeah, cool. He's already instructed Pam Bondi to release the Epstein files, and she did, and they were redacted. So, like that argument, it's moot. He's already told her to go ahead and do it. So, what now?
We let the DOJ and the FBI do their jobs, and when it's the time to bring forth the investigations, they'll do so.
So let Donald Trump go ahead and control on if the Epstein files that he is part of is going to be released. You should be screaming at the top of your lungs that you want these released. Otherwise, to me, it just sounds like you're okay with it.
I would argue that what's happening right now is no different than the Warren investigation when it comes to JFK.
I was just asking you, can you tell us? I don't really care. Why should it not release it?
You don't care?
I think that they are. I think
I'm just
that they
trying to
are.
pin them to it.
Yeah, I think that they are going to release it, and it's going to bring down the house, so to speak, because I think that it's people on both sides of the
What
aisle.
if he doesn't?
If he doesn't, then I guess that you are right, and Tic Tac is right, and that he's part of it, and he's just one of the best con men of all times.
So, what point are you going to say, well, he hasn't released it?
Well, he's got 4 years. So, I mean, if it doesn't happen within
No,
his
why doesn't he
presidency-
release it now? No, that's that's bullshit. That's bullshit. No,
Yeah, he's already
no.
half-assed
Because you'll
released
sit
it.
there. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. Because you'll sit here and go, well, Biden needs to do this now. Hunter Biden needs to do this now. This is a big concern that Donald Trump has to alleviate. And you're sitting there going, well, if he doesn't release it in 4 years, he had 4 years to release it. He refused to release it. He tried to release it, and it was 100% redacted. I'm not talking about 99%. It was 100% redacted. At this point, Musk has said he's in the Epstein files. Why would he not release them immediately? Why would he need to wait 4 years? That's crazy. That's insane. So you can give yourself 4 years of leniency? If he doesn't
Boy, if
admit
this
to
was
release it in the
Biden-
next week, unredacted,
Well, I
why
think
didn't Biden release it? Because he's not in it.
You have
Look at them.
you
Well, why didn't
have-
Biden do it? Why didn't Trump? What the fuck? Why wouldn't not?
Because-
Why is he not releasing it?
I can tell you why, because it would send the world into absolute chaos, because all of the leaders of the world would be implicated and the people
Okay.
would revolt.
Okay,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
cool.
okay with that.
Why don't we?
If-
We have the
if
right to
that's who
deserve.
you
We have
are
the
and
right to
you're
know
in
that.
charge.
Are you
we
for
should know that.
anarchy? Are you for people to like have their lives like ruined because people
Do you not
are
sound how? Listen. Do you not sound? Do you not hear how insane you sound?
how insane?
Now he's covering.
That you
for
are honestly
the
sitting
people-
here, saying I'm going to sit here in this live and I'm going to cover for pedophiles. I'm going to
No,
literally
I-
say I don't want. And you came in this live, and you know what's the most bullshit part about it? This guy came in this live, you got clocked on the shit that you did 20 years ago, where you had to give a thing to a grand jury about some guy graping someone. You go, I want to use that to change, to bring accountability to people.
Yes.
And then you sit in here and you go, actually, I don't fucking want that. That's
Well,
crazy.
I do want people
That's
to be held
crazy.
accountable, but I don't want
Then
innocent
why
people
would you
to be
not want
hurt
this
to do it.
release?
Because
You don't
innocent
even know
people
what's
will be
on
hurt.
it. You don't even know what's on it. You sat in here and said, I've changed. I'm trying to bring accountability to people. But honestly, also, I'm going to say that the consequences of Trump releasing this are not going to be that Trump's the only motherfucker on here. That the consequences somehow are going to be so significantly severe that, oh, we can't release it. You don't know that.
The world
And it shouldn't matter. You're sitting
Well,
here
I
going, the
think-
world's going to crumble if we release it. You don't know that. That's conjecture.
So what would have happened? Let's just say for a minute that the investigation.
Nah. Ronan, appreciate it. Thank you for the 30
Thank
over there to kick. Can we
you.
get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for Ronan? Ronan, appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll be honest, Tommy. I usually block him out of every live that I go into. The stuff that I've heard him say about black women, so disgusting. So disgusting. I
You're
typically
gonna catch some
as soon as I
hands.
see him in there. But he was
You're
on
gonna
a
catch
he
some
was on a
hands.
he was on a different account. That was Hoodie. If you guys,
If you-
I'm sure everybody knew that though.
If you are opposition, hop in the box. Would appreciate it. Is that not crazy? I'm trying to bring accountability to men and figure out what I did wrong. Also, don't expose the P3DOs. Don't expose them.
No. That'd be too much.
That's-
Too many people would be hurt.
That'd be too much. Too many people would be hurt. You know, we can't expose the P3DOs. We got it's crazy. They spent the last 4 years saying we got to expose them all. We got to expose them all, and now they're like, no, we can't do. Do we really need to do that? What do you mean? We just thought it was fun when it was Hillary. It was fun when it was a pizza shop.
Yeah, it was fun when it was Pizzagate. When we thought it was Democrats, it was great. Now that's coming out, it's actually our president. Oh.
Yeah.
This hurts, man.
God forbid
This
a whole
hurts my
bunch of a whole bunch of P3DOs need to resign. I thought we were all in. I thought it's a weird thing. I thought we were in agreement on pedos. I thought we all were in agreement on that on MAGA and on the MAGA side and the Democratic side. Apparently not. And it tracks. It tracks. It tracks. Ronan, appreciate the 30. Thank you over on the YouTube. If you guys want to support, we have 2 more subs to get to. I don't have subs set up on this account. TikTok took down my other one. I'm waiting on Pickles to get approved into the agency so that I can have him send off to get that reviewed, because that's some BS. Period.
Yeah, we
That's
did a
some
subathon
BS.
yesterday, and they booted you for a week. That's horrible, man.
After I got off live. Isn't that some bullshit?
Yeah, that was uncalled for.
So I'm gonna set up subs on here. I'll just make them cheaper so you guys can sub for the month or whatever. Get the subs over here so that we can get them going. Madkins, what's up?
What's up, dude?
What's going on? You debating?
I mean, I don't know if there's a really debate to be had, but I guess I'll start by saying I voted for Trump. Been following the Epstein files for a while.
Hey,
So
Park
with that
Tracker,
said-
appreciate the reset of the Prime. Thank you for 29 months. Appreciate it, Park Tracker. Yep.
With that said, if he were to actually show up in the client lists and if they actually get released, I would gladly stand there and watch him swing with the rest of them. But my question is, if he was a client, right? If there actually was video or evidence of him being held at SDNY with the rest of the evidence, I guess my biggest question is, why wouldn't the Biden DOJ have pursued that, during the run up to his run in 2024?
I don't know. I think that's something that would need to be released. If he's not on the Epstein files, he's not on the Epstein files. But he should release those. I honestly
Absolutely,
couldn't tell you.
100% agree. Especially because it's, when I think about it just from a normal person logical standpoint, number one, if I'm Donald Trump and I know in my mind that somewhere there is somebody who knows that I was on that island and I took part in these horrible, horrific things that, both Republicans, Democrats, and, other world leaders absolutely took part in with Epstein. Why would I stand behind a podium and use that as one of the foundational, running points during my campaign, and get my base so riled up about it, and knowing that I'm there.
That was used, my guy. Like that
What do you-
was we on our side we knew about Katie Johnson. We knew about Ron DeSantis releasing the testimony. The thing was, Donald Trump hadn't been convicted of anything. So he had been actually found liable in civil court and convicted in a criminal court, and you guys fucking fought that like crazy. You didn't believe any of it. You said it was all rigged. It's all Democratic judges and juries and made up stories about how he...
Carroll?
Yeah,
incident?
so you guys
Yeah.
said that that was all made up. So this actually happened. This case I think it was 2008. The Katie Johnson case took place, and it was ordered released by Ron DeSantis in 2022 or 2023. This is all on our side. We've been screaming this. You guys haven't believed it. You're not
I'm
paying
not. I'm
attention.
not familiar with the Katie Johnson one. I know there were a few others,
Okay.
or maybe I am, and I'm
So
just not recalling the name. But
you can go to mypalmbeachclerk.com. It's the county clerk of Palm Beach County, Florida. He's got a court order from Ron DeSantis, or I'm sorry, an order from Ron DeSantis saying that he needs to release the files of the Katie Johnson Epstein court case testimonies. And then the very top PDF on the page, you just go to the search bar and search Jeffrey Epstein on mypalmbeachclerk.com. Search Jeffrey Epstein. The very first one is the PDF of the court case. The second one after that is the Ron DeSantis order saying that he needs to release it. I mean, this is all on our side, man. We've been screaming this stuff at you for years. You
Well,
just haven't been listening.
I think. Well, I mean, I think we've. If you know, I'm not saying you guys. I don't like the whole you guys, our guys thing, because I feel like there's a lot of us on both sides of the aisle that have a lot more in common than we think. You know, especially when it comes to this type of topic. I mean, I've done child rescues, and you know, I'm definitely you know, I'm right there, and I think anyone involved should fucking swing. Sorry, don't mean to cuss, but that's just my own
I'm
opinion.
just worried
I
about the
think that-
live. Just be careful about the live when you're saying
Sorry,
that stuff.
sorry.
Thanks.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna look that one up because I'm
Yeah,
not
for sure.
I'm not familiar with that. But yeah, like I said, that's one of my biggest questions. You know, is like how come if he is and he's on that client list, then why would the Biden DOJ, or I mean even before that, like, you know, even during Obama's time, you know, why wouldn't this stuff have been put out? And obviously it's because it implicates a lot of people, and you know, a lot more than just Donald Trump. But you know, I think it's a question that we all deserve answers to, for sure. I mean, I know he was on the flight log when he flew from like Palm Beach to Jersey or something like that.
This is the website right here. The very top of it is Joseph Abrazo. He is the county clerk of Palm Beach clerk. If you just go to this search bar right here, you can. Oh, I already have it typed in. You can see I've typed it already. Jeffrey Epstein. Hit search. It's gonna pull up the county clerk. It's our hope to release of these records gives peace of mind to our community and gives Jeffrey Epstein's victim closure they deserve. Here's the Ron DeSantis. He's calling for transparency for them to release it. Legislation to release Epstein grand jury records headed to Governor Ron DeSantis. I mean, it's all right here, man, step by step. And then the very top one is the court records. You click on that, it takes you to a PDF. You can read all the testimony of a 13-year-old girl talking about how Donald Trump raped her and then threw $300 at her and told her to go get an abortion. Like, this is all in testimony, man. Her name is Katie Johnson.
I'm not denying it. You know, I'm definitely going to look it up because yeah, if that's true, we absolutely all deserve that. You know, I voted for him, but I don't stand for that at all, obviously. But then my next question regarding Elon would be, when did Elon know? You know, like when did he know, and what was his reasoning for waiting until this you know, fallout, whether it's, you know, a real fallout or it's some stupid optics play that, you know, they're doing whatever they're doing. I don't know, but you know, I think that question needs to be answered too.
Because Elon Musk cares about power more than he cares about people.
Yeah, and
He was willing to
100%
keep his mouth shut as
Sure.
long as he got what he wanted. And as soon as Donald Trump started taking his toys away, that was the first thing he did. Is he went,
Yeah,
he went
I
just
don't
balls to the
disagree at all.
walls. This like, so you guys as MAGA, you need to be lining up with pitchforks and demanding he release the unredacted Epstein files. That needs to be done.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm 100% behind that. Absolutely.
Other than that, we're gonna look at you like you're okay with having a P3DO as your leader.
Well, I mean,
that's
it's
kind of
not
how
like,
we're looking at you now.
and that's fine. I mean, it's not like the left was lined up with pitchforks demanding it, since 2014, or whenever, this all started to come out. So I mean, I think there's blame to be passed on both sides there for sure.
No, actually, there was a lot going on with Biden. The court case was still going on. Man, that monster was super sour. Sorry. Virginia Guffrey, the lady who just passed recently,
Yeah.
she had they had to give the consent to release all this stuff, man. There was a lot going on with Biden. The court case was still going on at the time with Maxwell. There was reasons for it.
There was reasons for not lining up with pitchforks.
One more.
No, there's reasons for not releasing it under the Biden administration.
I know. I'm specifically referring to your comment about you're looking at us like, why aren't you lined up with pitchforks? When I didn't see anyone lined up with pitchforks since all this stuff started coming out.
Why
And it's
would
not,
we
it
had
just-
to?
I don't know.
The cases were still going on.
It doesn't matter. It's the principle, right?
No, I don't. Like if we would have demanded they release it, first of all, they wouldn't. Second of all, it could have jeopardized the case, and the victims within the case could have been at risk. Like there's these were children. A lot of their names
Absolutely.
were redacted and stuff like
Absolutely.
that to protect them. That's why they needed to get permission. I mean, there's a lot to this, man. It's not something that. But now, all that is over. Donald Trump has already said release it to Pam Bondi in February. He told her to
100%.
release it.
100%.
She did.
It
She
still
half-assed
still
it,
hasn't
though.
been released.
No, it was. It was just half-assed and had a bunch of redactions on there.
It was all the same files that I read, a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was all the same stuff.
Right. So
There's nothing new. But I guess my question now, and this is more, I guess, on the legal side of things, would be, does it need to be released to the public in order for indictments to be sealed and unsealed? Like if because it's obviously not just Donald Trump who's on that list. I mean, there's probably hundreds of names. So at what point
Release them.
is it just Donald Trump's name that triggers the release, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think he's the most powerful man in the world, and if he's guilty of this, it needs to be known.
For sure. But what about before him?
What do you mean?
Well, who was the most powerful man that was on that list before he became president? That should have been known too, no?
I have no idea what you mean.
Uh,
Are you saying that Biden was on it too?
No. I'm saying there's probably, if you're talking about power as in like, just a presidential seat, I guess I'm talking power just as in global influence, right? Because this wasn't just, Epstein didn't just operate,
Bro,
in the
if you
States,
touch
right?
kids, man, you deserve to go down. I don't give a shit who you are.
I'm not
care.
disagreeing with you, but I'm trying to make the point that, why prior, Epstein's been operating since when? What year did he kind of come on the scene? And not like publicly knowing that he was, a P3DO, but, since he's been into global politics and whatnot. I mean, it's been a couple decades, if not more now.
So, are you saying why didn't we find out until now? I don't know.
No, I'm
Not part of
saying,
that
I'm
circle.
saying what? So you said if Donald Trump is the most powerful man on the planet, right, and he's on that list, it needs to be released now. So what I'm saying is if we knew about Epstein and what he was doing prior to Donald Trump being the quote unquote most powerful man on the planet or on whatever, why wasn't it released? Like who was the most powerful man? And I'm not talking about in the White House. I'm talking about around the globe. Like there's obviously a lot of people that have a lot more influence on politics and geopolitics than just the man in the White House. I mean that's at least what I believe. I think there's a lot more money out there, and money's really what runs the world. But
Is this gonna get anti-Semitic again?
no, why would it?
I don't know. It has 3 times. Well,
Chicken?
twice so far. Like
I mean,
we've had
how
2 people
many
come
Trump
up and literally
supporters-
say, no, we've had 2 people come up and say Trump didn't do this. This was Jewish people. This was clearly Israel was behind
and it's
this.
because
Yeah,
they're too emotionally connected to Trump, which is fine. I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, how many Trump supporters have you come up here and say I'll watch him swing if he's on there? Probably not many.
I don't understand. Like you say that, but then your next words are trying to find out or find wiggle room on why this has already happened. This is acceptable up to the. Hey, this is something we just found out. Let's take care of it now. And if he's on that, we need to know.
For sure. Hey, if you guys can hold on, if you're able to like just mute me and give me a couple minutes, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Is that cool? Or you want me to jump
No, it's
off?
fine. I will be. No, if you could hop off, I'd appreciate it because I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, gotcha.
But we have one sub. No, I'll be back at 6 p.m. Pacific. By the way, we have one sub. If you guys make sure you're following this account, I'm gonna go live at 6 p.m. Pacific. I have another account to go live on. This account, I'll probably set up sub goals here. But this account and another one are gonna be pumping out content here. I'm just working on getting it all sorted. Work on getting my schedule and stuff, and also planning on, I need time to like pull videos off and stuff. Andy, appreciate it. Thank you. We hit the 20. Andy, appreciate it. Thank you for the gifted sub. If you guys go follow me over on YouTube, by the way, in the link tree in the bio, we hit it. Can we get some dubs for Andy and everybody else that subbed? If you guys head over to the link tree in the bio and go to YouTube, I will be live. Do I have subs set up on here? Did we get a first sub? Nice. I forget. Do I have subs set up on this one?
You got one sub.
Nice, we got a sub.
Nice.
Let's go. Let's go.
I wasn't gonna promote
Let's
it
go.
on this
Appreciate
one, man,
the
'cause you're not
sub.
gonna be on it
Thank
very
you.
long, but
Well, so it's
got
gonna
one
bounce
sub.
between the three. So it's gonna bounce between the two. I can't go live on the main, and the other account I'm gonna continue to go live on. But I need to get. I mean, I need that account, but I need to get on an agency so that they can review it, because it is annoying and it's frustrating. But this live, I'm going to go live all weekend. If I don't have an account to go live on, I'm going to go live over on YouTube, and we'll figure out some way that we can set up a panel live or something, or maybe I can join Jaden's or someone else. We can have someone host a live, and that way I can join it on pretty much any one of my burner accounts, and we're going to have a subathon over on YouTube, and hopefully, if I get the other account back in time, the other one. Otherwise, we'll have a subathon on this one and go from there. So, can't get accepted by an agency when you're banned? Damn. Can they review it after I get it's unsuspended? Can they review it after I get unsuspended?
I think you do have to have like
this
30
some
days
bullshit.
with no strikes. Did Pickles just tell you that?
They fucking hit me with some bullshit. I can't do anything about it. That's fucking annoying.
Did Pickles
Okay,
just tell you
well, I'll
that?
just keep doing what I'm doing. Paige just told me that.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll be live at 6 p.m. Pacific. There's this account. There's another one. In my link tree in my bio are all my live accounts. And if you go over into my Instagram page and go follow my broadcast channel, I would appreciate it. That helps. I do got to find a way to like I got to find, I don't know, some public. Corey and I were supposed to work on a public Discord. I don't think it ever happened, but Corey was undergoing therapy and I get a lot going on. So, but yeah, I'm going to go live over on the YouTube. And by the way, for the YouTube this time around, it's going to be the YouTube shorts for this weekend, because I really want to get time over there so that it sends it out on the For You page, so that if TikTok goes down, I can get debates over on the YouTube shorts side, because I know that's how RTP does it. So,
Just real quick, before we
appreciate
jump off, I
everyone
did
that
wanna
subbed.
say-
We got 21. Yeah, go ahead.
That's
No, go ahead.
awesome, man. You got 21 on YouTube. We weren't even really pushing it that hard today. We'll push it harder tonight. We're still doing the subathon this weekend, correct? Are you gonna
Yes,
hold
it
off?
may
You
just
wanna
have to
do
be
it
over on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so there's a lot of people on here. If we do that and some of my mods and stuff, we can have them hold it. So like if I don't, Reggie's not a mod, but if Reggie's wants to hold a panel live, or if Amanda or someone else wants to hold it, we can hop in on a burner account, and we can do it. So we can do panels and we can do some debates and stuff like that. If this account goes down, so it's annoying that the account went down last night for some bullshit that I can't control. So and it went down after the live.
Just real quick, I'm reading some conflicting news. So Ground News, I follow Ground News. I don't know if anybody else does. I like the hell out of them though. They came out with a news story saying Donald Trump and Elon Musk were going to have a phone conversation today, and then the very next story says Donald Trump rules out any talks with Elon Musk, and on top of that, he's selling his new Tesla that he bought. So I don't know what's going on, man.
And now he can't. Now he can't. It is funny because he can't get, Republicans to buy it or Democrats to buy it. So he's like, I'm selling my Tesla. He's never even sat his fat ass in that fucking thing. Never once. He can't fit in it.
I saw
He's
a
over
picture.
there.
He was putting a bumper sticker said, "I bought this before Elon went crazy." He was putting it on the back of it. But yeah, man. So
Literally
I don't know what's going on.
All Elon got out of this was Trump to go buy a Tesla, and that's it. That's literally it. The whole thing. He got up the election, one of the elections, and it's Tesla.
We got a meme out of it. That's all. Anyway.
It's not retroactive. That's annoying. I might start going live on this account, to be honest with you, and hop in on the other ones, because I'm trying not to get the other one suspended. So I might have to bounce between them. So, just kind of is what it is. Anyway, Josh, appreciate it. I'm going to head out.
All
I'll
right,
be
man.
back at 6
Have a
p.m.
good night.
Pacific. And I got the boy today. Take care. We're going to raid Pickles. If you guys want to raid Pickles, would appreciate it. If you guys want to support, make sure you sub. We're killing it on the subs. We're going to have a subathon this weekend. I don't know what I'm going to set the goal at for the whole weekend. Basically, I think we're going to do it an hour over hour. So if we hit a certain amount of subs every hour, we'll just keep going. I think we'll start pretty early and just keep going for it. All right, I will see you guys on the next one. Everyone have a good one. Go raid Pickles.